Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight, Tuesday night. Gorgeous day outside. Um, Today I'm interviewing a junior from Trinity Hall, Cameryn Kane. Keane, right? Cameryn Keane. Thank you for joining me, Cameron.
Of course.
Now you just finished basketball season. You play soccer. Do you play any spring sports?
Yeah, we just started track this year.
So you do track too. So
Mhm.
you're a three-sport athlete. Um, Last year, end of the school year, or not the end of the school year, towards the end, COVID hits and, all the schools go virtual learning. How did you find that adjustment?
Well, personally, I actually found that to be a really great time for me to like take a step back from everything and to just really readjust. It was like a great time for me to really focus on soccer, but then also school, because I feel like last year was almost like my academics might have been on the back burner towards the end of there. So I feel like it really helped me to readjust and like find time for both and really make a commitment to both.
How did Trinity Hall do it at the end of last year? Now, um, did you have to be like on Google Meets at certain times, or did they just email you assignments? I know a lot of the private schools, it seemed like you had to be on at certain times for certain classes.
Yeah, so Trinity was actually special in that regard because even before the pandemic, we would only have one snow day and then we would have online school days. So we've
Mhm.
always had Zoom set up for our
Okay.
school. So right after we shut down, we just went straight to Zoom and we did our normal school days on there. So it was pretty normal for us actually.
Oh yeah, so that's a big advantage. The teachers and the
Yeah.
students already were pretty familiar with that, and it wasn't just like a curveball thrown to them. So that,
Yeah, it was actually really nice for everyone because I know a lot of other schools were really struggling with
yeah,
like teachers and everything. So it was really good for us.
that's good. Um, Now, talking soccer, how old were you when you started playing?
I've always been like since I can remember, I was just like passing the soccer ball around. But I officially started playing when I was 5. I joined a rec team in Wall.
In Wall, is that what you're from Wall? Now, Wall has pretty good soccer program over there for the
Mhm.
youth, and when I used to coach, and still now I know they always have some top teams over there.
Yeah.
Did you play any other sports when you were younger?
I experimented in every sport, but I would say the two sports that I like basketball, I've always played because I came from a huge basketball family. And then I've always done cross country or track just to like stay in shape.
Okay. Do you have any siblings,
Yeah, I have two brothers,
older or younger?
one older, one younger.
No. Do they play sports too?
Yeah, so my older brother played soccer his whole life too. So we would always train together when we were growing up. And then when he got to CBA, he actually took up track. And his junior and senior year, he just ran track and did that for his entire or the rest of his time at CBA. And then my younger brother does soccer and basketball right now.
Uh, how old is your younger brother?
He's 11.
Oh, okay. Are you three very competitive with each
Yeah.
other?
Yeah, we're super competitive when it comes to honestly anything.
I know your older brother just does track now, but do you ever, because he, played soccer too, did you ever go to him for like advice or, if you had questions and stuff?
Yeah, growing up, we would train every week together. So we were always, I feel like that's where we got our competitive nature from together. But then also he was always like joining the higher levels or just like doing everything a couple years before I was. So he was really helpful when it came to like moving up from 9 people or 8 people on the field to 11, and he was just super helpful in any of those. Like if I needed any advice with that.
Um, you brought up your parents, did they have basketball background?
Yeah. Well, it was actually more of my grandpa because he
Oh,
played basketball in college at St. Anthony's. So we've
oh,
always just been a basketball family like that. But my parents actually, my dad played football in high school and just like did a bunch of other sports, but not really seriously. And then my mom played softball growing up and then was also a cheerleader in high school.
How have they helped you in your development? I know, academy soccer is a lot, with
Mhm.
travel and stuff, but how have they supported you?
Both of my parents have always just been super supportive of my athletic career, whether it was just like driving me anywhere I needed to go for it, they were always on board. But they were also like, my dad was super supportive and like would really help me talk through any issues I had like during the game. But then my mom was also, she's a or a sports neuropsychologist, so she really helped me in like the like emotional aspect of it. So if I ever got like upset or anything, she really like helped talk me through it.
Yeah, it's impressive, like a lot of these higher programs, they put a lot of emphasis into the psychology these
Hmm.
days compared to, when I grew up, you just, you played, which is good. Has to be
Yeah.
advantage, that's your mom's field,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Now going back to youth soccer, do you remember who your first coach was by any chance?
Yeah. My first coach, his name was Dave Brown or Mr. Brown. He coached me at my first team, the Wall Strikers.
Okay. Who was your first like travel team? Do you remember your first like travel?
Yeah, so that was the Wall
Oh,
Strikers.
okay.
Yeah, I don't remember my rec coach,
Okay.
but
Um, when did you now you said you played for, Twin County too. When did you make that move? When did you
I switched over in fourth, like between fourth and fifth grade. It was once I don't know if you remember this, but when the teams and like the age, switched.
Yeah.
So I switched during that, like when we were
Okay.
having tryouts for our team.
Okay. Um, so and you said your Twin County coach was Christy Pearson. Who else?
Holly.
How did those two help your game?
They really taught me everything I know about like the technical aspect of the game. They taught me like all the movements I have to make offensively, and just really helped me see the game from like a different perspective and really like take myself out of my position and like see the overview of the game and what I really need to do to help actually affect the game.
Now you just moved to PDA Shore, and Lou Santa Cruz is
Yeah.
your coach now. I know Lou pretty well. Um, how is I know the seasons are just starting. How has he helped your game?
He's really helped me adjust to I guess you could say quicker playing style because I changed from EDP to
Yeah.
ENCL or
Hmm.
yeah, ENCL. And it's definitely a whole new like gameplay. So he's really helping me become like more goal oriented and really aggressive. But then also like with the new like speed of the game, he's really helping me in that sense too.
Yeah, it's always fun, talking to Lou. He loves soccer. He'll talk any, not just his teams. He'll talk any team out
Yeah.
there with you. The first time I met him was the state finals, Brick versus Cranford this past.
Mhm.
Him and a bunch of the PDA coaches were there. Now for Trinity, you play like an attacking midfield almost, right? Do you play similar position for, your club team? Because I know sometimes the high school coaches move your position.
So now on the PDA, I'm playing a holding mid position, but it's still, Lou really likes to have an attacking sense to any position, like even our defenders, he
Yeah.
just wants to have the attack. So it is really, it is the holding position, but I feel like it's almost like if I have the ball, I have the time, like like he wants me to attack. So I wouldn't say it's that different besides like more of a like I have to get back on defense a little more.
Okay. Um, Now, transition to, high school, Trinity Hall.
Mhm.
What goals did you set for yourself that you wanted to achieve over 4 years?
Well, before even trying out freshman year, I wanted to be a 4-year varsity player. But then I just generally wanted to contribute to the attack as much as I could and just like help build traditions because I knew our school was super small and it was still a smaller program. coming in my first year. So I just wanted to help build the program too.
Um, I like to ask kids this that go to private school. What made you choose, a private school or public school?
Well, growing up, before, like my parents decided they wanted to send us to Catholic school.
Mhm.
So I went to St. Catherine's all throughout my elementary years. And then when it came to high school, I knew personally, and my family has always wanted like a close community. Like that's what we got from St. Catherine's. So I knew going into high school, I wanted to keep like the smaller like communal values where it was like close for everyone. So I knew I wanted to go to a private school around us. But then for Trinity specifically, just the way when I came to our open house, just the way they taught and like how it was, they stressed the importance of a sisterhood. So I just felt like it had everything I was looking for in that sense.
Yes, Mark Donnelly messaged me today when he saw I was interviewing, saying that you and Mary, were close at St. Catherine's and that
Yeah,
you went
we
to
were.
St. Catherine's. So that's they're a great family, the
I
Donnellys.
love Donnelly, yeah.
Um, how do you find time? Obviously soccer is, your main sport because,
Mhm.
the level you play, club soccer. How do you find time to balance, soccer and basketball?
I have always grown up playing multiple sports, so I just feel like personally it's always just been like I have my school and I have to focus on school when it's time for academics, I just have to really focus on that. And then when it comes to basketball and soccer, at this point like soccer, like I don't even see soccer as like a sport. It's just kind of like something like a part of my life. So I don't really see it like that. So anytime I have soccer, it's just like it's just second nature, honestly. And then for basketball, I've always grown up playing it, so just balancing the time. Like I will have two practices in a day, but it's also I don't really see it as like that big of a commitment because it's like genuinely what I love doing. So I feel like I'll always find time to balance it when I love doing it.
Yeah, it's different when you have the passion for it. It's easy to find the time and work hard for both of them.
Yeah.
Um, Now you said freshman year you talked about you wanted to make varsity,
Mhm.
obviously. What any upperclassmen that helped you, because I know freshman year could be a little bit scary,
Mhm.
especially on the varsity team. Any upperclassmen that helped you?
So two of the upperclassmen that really stand out to me would be Colleen Cusack, who was the senior in my freshman year. And she, like, since the first captain's practice in the summer when I showed up, she was like super nice. And she really like taught me the Trinity Hall like way, I guess you could say, like even in school
Yeah.
and throughout basketball season, just like everything, she really helped me get comfortable with that. And then the other one or the other girl would be Colleen Kelly. And she just like so freshman year there was only two freshmen who made the team. And she just really helped keep the team positive and motivated. But then she also helped to incorporate both of us freshmen like into everything. Like if we were doing a drill by ourselves, she would be like, come on guys, like join us. So she just really helped like us stay involved in the team and not feel like outsiders.
That's big, and that's how you keep the traditions going
Mhm.
at schools. When the seniors are including the freshmen, and then next year when you're a senior, I'm sure you'll be doing the same thing for the
Yeah, I
freshmen.
brought that into how I was the captain this year just because I knew how important that was to me and like how much that really meant as I was a freshman or just an underclassman.
Um, One game I wanted to, I I didn't go to a lot of soccer games. I was just getting back into high school sports that year, but I did go to the St. Rose, the South Jersey
Mhm.
final game. Just talk a little bit, just as a freshman being in such a big game and how you think that helped you, over the next couple seasons.
So I just feel like like everyone dreams of making it to the finals of like whatever sport they're playing. So as a freshman, that was so like unbelievable to me that I got to make that in the freshman year. So even before going into it, I was just so grateful to have had that experience. But then I knew going into the game that it was going to be super important and I had to stay super focused. And it was almost unlike any other game I've really like went into because it was my first high school like championship game. So I was super nervous before, but like Colleen and just all of the other like upperclassmen really helped me stay focused. And then Coach Santos was also, I remember he pulled me over before the game and he was like, I know you have like a huge role in the attack, but you just have to stay focused and know like this is like any other game in the long run, but just go out and stay focused and stay calm.
If I remember now, I know this is years ago, my memory's going, but it was a very competitive game. You
It
know,
was.
Laskauskas had that amazing, like that shot she scored was amazing. You know,
That was one of the craziest goals I've ever seen.
I said that when I got home, you know, my dad, big soccer person, I said, I just saw the craziest goal that you're probably going to see in high school level.
No, I was on the field and I was in awe. I remember after the game, I was like, there was literally nothing
Yeah,
anyone could do.
that's why she, you know, still, you know, I follow her up at Rutgers. She was one of my favorite players to watch. You know,
Yeah,
what she could do with the ball and stuff. So,
crazy.
um, yeah, that and you know, you take that out though, it was very evenly, it was very evenly played. It wasn't like St. Rose dominated the possession. Actually, I think you girls probably had a little more, especially towards the end because they were going a little more defense. But
Mhm.
it was a very good game, and you could see where the St. Rose Trinity rivalry, you know,
Mhm.
is. You brought up Coach Santos. Now that was his only year with you. Like you were on the team. Like,
Yeah.
what are some things he taught you? Because he's been around the shore for a while coaching.
Mhm.
So what are some things that you were able to learn from him?
So coming in as a freshman, well, when I first came in, I was super nervous being one of the only two freshmen on the team. So he really taught me how to like stay calm. Like attribute everything that I learned about staying calm in like high stress games to him. Cause even in the beginning of the season when it was just like scrimmages before, I would get so nervous, but he really helped me like stay calm and stay focused and like stay to our strategy.
Mm.
But then also he helped me adjust to like, I don't know how to explain it, but just like high school soccer, like there's just a speed to it and like a level of play that's like unlike any other soccer you'll ever really play. So he really taught me like what you need to do to be successful within high school soccer.
Um, yeah, and like I said, he's been around, so he's the one that could try to help slow the game down for the player
Yeah.
and stuff. Now switch basketball. Your freshman year. What goals did you have for yourself for your freshman year for basketball?
For basketball freshman year, I just wanted, well, personally, it was just a huge accomplishment making varsity just because I knew it was for high school sports. If you don't like focus on one specific
Yeah.
sport, like very unlikely that you would make varsity. So just making that was a huge accomplishment. But then also, just how I am as a player, I love to be on the court and just playing. So I would say my biggest goal was to just stay in like the starting lineup or the starting seven, which I would say I accomplished. So I was happy with that.
I'm gonna ask this same question. Then we'll move away from your freshman year.
Mhm.
Any seniors that or upperclassmen that helped you on the basketball court?
Definitely Colleen Cusat for that, who from soccer too. She was the captain my freshman year, and I would. She helped me in every way possible. Like when I remember freshman year, there was a little overlap between soccer and basketball, so she would like take me and some other players, and we would go from soccer to basketball. And she really helped me like in the basketball sense because I was like like I never played on a team in the like past 4 years before joining the team or before joining Trinity Hall basketball. So she really helped me get used to like the fast tempo and just like the culture of our basketball team specifically too.
Um, Moving to your sophomore year, you get a new soccer coach. How did the team adjust? New coach usually brings a new style. How did the team adjust to that?
It was definitely a really big adjustment for our team, considering how different the two coaches were between Coach Klinger and then Coach Santos. So it was definitely a huge adjustment trying to keep like our old traditions of our team while also trying to like switch into the playing style that Coach Klinger had for us. So I would say it was a huge adjustment just trying to keep what we already had while also building what he wanted to bring into our program.
What highlights did you have your sophomore year?
I would say it was more of like a team highlight just towards the end, seeing how we started and like just thinking about the first practice or our tryouts and like our first practice as the varsity team, and like cutting to the last game of the season, like how far we came as a team and just like really doing what we said, like readjusting as quick as we did and just really coming together as a team and forming such like a powerful group of girls.
What is it, do you think, that the St. Rose Trinity Hall, because that was a good game. It was their alumni day. That's why I was there actually at the game. But that was another back and forth game. I think they beat you that game, right?
They did.
Yeah, three. Was it 3-2? Was that game 3-2? I think so.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty
but
sure.
it was back. It was a back and forth game. I think you girls were winning at one point. But what is it that when your two teams step on the field that no matter what kids are in the school, it seems like it's going to be a highly competitive game.
Yeah. So I definitely think it's where we all come from. Like, I know personally, I know so many people on the St. Rose team,
Yeah.
and like everyone has come from all, like the same area. So we all kind of like knew each other, whether it was like from previous schools or just like previous sports team we've been on. So I feel like it's always going to be competitive in that sense. But then also, I would say we both are like some of the smaller schools around where we are, like the smaller private schools. So I think it's also like that is taken into consideration for that, just because we both are kind of competing to be like the strongest private small community team. So I would say that.
Did you make APP All Sure your sophomore year?
Not sophomore year.
Oh, you should have. That's
Thank
what it
you.
was. You made mine. You made mine. I thought APP had you, and I was very vocal this year that you weren't. Like I was on Twitter, I was very vocal that you didn't make. Well, you definitely, you just because when you're on the field, you just control the game, and
Thank you.
so yeah. Even when I spoke to Coach McCarthy,
Hmm.
before basketball, and I said, oh, I would love to interview Cameryn,
Hmm.
and I told him how high I was like. I think I was complaining to him. I was like, I don't understand. Like, she's definitely an all-sure player. So, but anyway, that's my rant.
Well, thank you.
um, so we'll talk this past season since it's the
Mhm.
freshest season. Did you think soccer or basketball was going to happen? You can answer them separately because more people felt soccer because it was outside and
Mhm.
basketball. But did you think the sports were going to happen this season?
It might just be how I like perceive sports and just everything, but I just could not imagine not having one of my seasons for soccer or basketball. So it might have just been a skewed view I had.
Okay.
But I definitely was worried when I started coming to the preseason workouts and like when we heard about all the rules that they had regarding the sports. So I definitely was concerned about how they would make it so that we could play other schools and other programs. But as we got closer and closer to the season, I just knew we were gonna have a season. I just felt that. But for basketball, I definitely was a lot more worried, just considering that it was inside and that like I remember hearing we might have had to play with masks on and like maybe even outside. Like I heard so much about that. So I genuinely didn't really know it like how it would end up working, but I'm super grateful that they both ended.
Yeah, I don't. I see these AAU games and the kids are playing with a mask on, and I was at an AAU practice last week, and the coach was like, I don't know how they can play, like, because it affects your vision still, like when you're like if you're catching the ball low, like,
Mhm.
and when you're going up, you're not seeing for a shot. And
Yeah,
then
I know
volley,
for soccer, some of the teams we play or like some of the programs we play, they want you to wear masks. So like our team, they allow you to wear it under your face.
yeah,
Most of us will wear it under, but I know other teams have to play with it on. And I've talked to people who do have to play with it on, and they always talk about like how hard it is to stay like it adds such a different level to the game that you could like never really imagine if besides like actually playing with it.
yeah. Um, what I like to ask, you being a junior, to me, I see the biggest jump in basketball and soccer, sophomore to junior years from players. What is something you wanted to improve from your sophomore year?
I just definitely wanted to be like a bigger presence within our team in general, but more specifically in the attack, because I felt like freshman and sophomore year, I was still kind of getting used to how we played and just getting used to high school soccer. But by junior year, I knew I was like used to it. I was super confident with my abilities. So I just wanted to like bring it to our team and just take a much bigger role than I had in previous years.
Um, Now your team, what do you think of the playoff situation this year for soccer with the sectional, no shore conference tournament?
Personally, I was a little upset about that just because our team has done so well in the past couple years that I've been in the program. But I also did enjoy how I feel like the playoffs this year, it was a lot better for like skill wise. I feel like it really kept it like it was definitely a lot less traveling. Like I remember freshman year we were driving like an hour and a half, so that was good. And also I felt like they kept it very equal playing levels. But I just love the shore conference, like playing in the big games, so I was a little upset about that.
Or rewind real quick to the year before.
Mhm.
Now, you played Brick in the first round of Shore Conference, right? And you beat Brick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing. I think you were seeded what, like 22 or something. It was
Yeah, we were
something ridiculous.
super lows.
And I last year I knew all, freshman year I only pretty much watched St. Rose your freshman year, but last
Mhm.
year, two seasons I expanded and watched a whole bunch of teams, and I said
Mhm.
this team's gonna win. And they're not a 22 seed. And do you
Yeah.
think being seeded improperly motivated the team to come out, and show them, hey, we're better than this?
100%.
Okay.
Especially, I mentioned her earlier, Colleen Kelly. I remember that was her whole thing going into the short conference that year. She was like, "We've been so disrespected with this seating." She always like it was almost our team motto that year. How like that seating, like we just needed to prove everyone wrong that year and show them like how inaccurate that seating was.
Yeah, that was crazy. Um, One of the games I want to talk about for soccer this season, the Point Beach game, like that. I was at that game.
The second game.
Yes, the 4-4 game. That was some craziest soccer I saw. Like, first of all, they didn't have a clock, so who know? I don't know how much time was when
Yeah.
they tied it. It was weird that they didn't have the clock going. But still, as a fan, a neutral fan, like to me, that was so exciting. I know disappointed, ending in a tie, but how playing in a game like that does that like get you going even more? Like such an exciting game back and forth.
For me, those are like the best games to be in, especially in the role I had this year. I felt like I really had to keep our team together almost, where like personally, I'm the type of player where I'll never react to anything like on the field. Like after the game, I'll get super upset about like any call or anything. But on the field, I really like to keep it together and keep it composed. And like after talking to Coach Klinger, like in the beginning of the season, he always said like you have to stay together for the team. So especially in that game, like I remember like words were said on the field, like there were uncalled for fouls, like everything like that, where it was like so easy to get distraught by it and like show emotion. but I knew for the team's sake and just like the game in general, I had to stay together. And it was a challenge, definitely, but I also just thought it was so fun to stick to like just soccer and keep the team together and like keep them pushing and not getting caught up in all the little things.
Now, your team had a great season. Do you
Mhm.
think you'll be able to carry that to the start of next season? Something to work off of.
I fully believe we will. I don't We have lost a bunch of seniors, but I think with everyone we're keeping this year and then anyone else coming in, I think we're going to have a great team next year. And I know other girls who like might have had to quit for other sports, they might be coming back for their senior year. So I think we're going to have a great program, especially considering the like chemistry we had last year and everything we're going to bring into this year. I think we're going to have a great season.
Yeah, I know quite, multiple sport girls that, quit their secondary sport in high school just because of COVID going on,
Mhm.
trying to limit the exposure and stuff. And, that'd be good to see. And, next year, next season, hopefully everyone back to normal and everyone who wants to play is playing.
Mhm.
Want to talk basketball a little bit. First, very Trinity Hall is a pretty young team,
Mhm.
everyone touting the freshman class. What is something that you're trying to teach, you being the junior and stuff that you tried to teach the younger kids, this past season on the basketball court?
So after talking to Coach McCarthy, even in the beginning of the season, I knew that though I might be like a less technical player within basketball,
Mhm.
I knew he even said that I would be like the spirit of the team and just like really bring the fun to the competitive side of the team. So, coming in, I really just wanted to show the freshmen that though we do have to stay super focused and super competitive, it is also good to be like have fun, build relationships because I know our team always talked about how important it is to have great like good team chemistry in any aspect. We just knew. So I really wanted to teach the underclassmen that we like you have to stay positive and have like lighthearted moments even during like serious games and everything like that.
Um, how did it feel winning the pod championship?
I I can't even explain it. I felt like that was so well deserved, especially considering our team and like how much we went through. Like we only had I think 3 or 4 practices
Yes,
before we
because you were
had
shut down early. Yeah.
an 18-day shutdown.
Mhm.
So it was I remember coming back. It was definitely really hard to stay motivated after we all were like super sick and like super out of shape. But coming back and like growing as much as we did as like our growing our relationships as a team and just growing our like how we played, I thought it was so well deserved that win and like through everything we went through that season.
Were you a fan the way the Shore Conference did the soccer basketball postseason?
I actually maybe it's just because it's not my main
Yeah.
sport, but
Mhm.
I really enjoyed how they did the basketball seeding just because I felt like in previous years it was always like the same teams going into the finals every
Mhm.
year and like huge congrats to them, but it was almost like discouraging for any
Yeah.
other smaller school who might not have like the same access to as many players or anything like
Mhm.
that. Especially for basketball. So I kind of felt like this year, how they split it up, it made the brackets much more even. And though there wasn't like one huge winner, I felt like it was great for every team or every like pod to have their
Yeah.
champion and just like give everyone not a fair chance, but like
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's a fair
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's always the Manasquan, St. John Vianney's,
Mhm.
RBC. It's always the same teams, and like you said, good for them. But there's a lot of other talented teams that they're not at that level, but they're very
Yeah.
good. And nice to pod championship or something.
Mhm.
Moving to senior year. What goals you have for soccer for your final season?
My ultimate goal, I think, like anyone's, would be winning our championship. If we have the short conference, I would love to win the short conference and score as many goals as I can and just be the biggest contributor to the team that I could be. Um, yeah, and just help build I would just love to end by like building a huge foundation for any of the
Mm.
following years after I leave.
That's great, and like that's how programs start to rise. Is you get
Mhm.
the upperclassmen to build that foundation. Sorry.
You're good.
How about basketball? What goals your last year?
I know I'm more of a defensive player in basketball, but next year I really do want to contribute more to the offensive and like the attack of basketball. And then just also, like I said before, just contributing and like building more chemistry than like as we had this year, like building on that and like just helping build that program too as much as I can.
What is it with soccer players that make them such good defenders on the basketball court?
I think for soccer, I remember Abby Wambach when I was little. I read something where she talked about how like the best the best basketball defenders will always come from a soccer player, just because like in soccer you could get rid of anything, but in the end you have to know how to contain a player. So and I feel like I've learned that like since I can remember in soccer, just containing a player. And I feel like it's very similar in basketball where you you might not be the most technical player with your hands or anything, but on defense, it's always just like contain your player, keep her in front of you, and just you'll be good in that sense.
Before we wrap up and talk about your future, you want to do some rapid questions, fire
Yep.
questions? What's your favorite number?
42.
42. Why 42?
I honestly, ever since I was a little, like when I picked my first number for my first travel team, I just picked 42 and I
Favorite TV show?
the Vampire Diaries.
Favorite movie?
5 feet apart.
Okay. Favorite food?
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Good choice there. Favorite school subject?
History.
Straight. Favorite color?
Yellow.
Last one. Something you enjoy doing in your free time when you're not doing sports.
Definitely hanging out with my friends.
Okay. All right. Talk future real quick. Junior, you're looking at colleges and stuff like that. What are some things that appeal to you, when you're looking at schools, like location, size, that kind of stuff?
So for college, I definitely want to go to a bigger school just because I felt like I do love the small community, but I would just love to see what it's like to go to a huge school. Not that like I'm gonna walk outside and not know anyone every day, but I do just want like a bigger feel to the school. And then I also definitely want to go like south, like doesn't have to be Florida, but I just want to go somewhere warmer. I would say those are the two big things for me.
Okay. Do you know what you want to study?
Yeah, I want to be a business major, and then if I can, depending on the school, go into business real estate. But
Okay.
not a lot of schools have that, so.
Yeah, business is not my field. Um, what do you think you want to do with that after college?
I just want to go into anything real estate.
Okay.
That's always interested me, so anything
Okay.
with that would be great.
You're actually the second person to say that to me during
Really?
because I ask every player that. I
Uh-huh.
think I think Caitlin Decker from Red Bank Regional. I think
Oh,
she
really?
I think she said real estate too. Um, Last question. What advice would you give your younger self?
I would say to just accept change with open arms. Like from a young age, I've always said, like, I hate change. Like, I'm always so nervous for change. But from everything I've learned, like, whether it's moving from St. Catherine's to Trinity Hall or just switching teams, like, yes, it'll be the most nerve wracking thing ever. But you can't really grow and like become a better person without changing. And I feel like eventually you're gonna like acknowledge how much you need the change. So if you go into it like positively, then I just feel like you can really achieve anything you want. So I would just say be open to change as much as you can.
Okay. That's good advice, you know. Cameron, thank you for joining me today, and I'll
Thanks
let you
for
go.
having me.
And I wish you luck during the spring season for PDA, and I look forward to seeing you next season. Actually, you'll probably see me in some PDA stuff, but um, because I love soccer, I can't get enough soccer. But definitely you'll see me on the field for Trinity Hall. Definitely the Trinity Hall St. Rose game.
Perfect.
So, but good luck, and I look forward to seeing you on the field.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.